Well, what a weekend. From Friday till now, it went by very, very quickly. However, so much great information, information sharing. The symposium, the banquet last night was wonderful. Great speakers. Everyone, all the panelists, all the participants, both online, people that attended here in person, a lot of value. And I think the industry gains every time we have an event like this, and it's great way to reconnect with everyone, share information, share best practices, and everybody can move forward in a positive way. On the wrap-up panel, where do we go from here? You know, there's still a lot of things to do in our industry, and we realize that, and we face a lot of challenges in the future. However, you know, the weekend was positive. We've shown positive trends in the Atlantic region, and I hope everybody continues to move in that positive way. I'm going to ask Dawn Bremner. She's a Horse Racing New Brunswick Board of Director, a longtime leader in the industry in New Brunswick. Everything from breeding to owning to pretty much operating. Dawn, I think, has experience and knowledge in all aspects, and she wanted to say a few words on plans for the future and where we go.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm happy to be here and certainly have enjoyed this symposium and am very encouraged by the positive things that I'm hearing. Like all horsemen, I'm an incurable optimist, but I think today we have many things to be optimistic about. I prepared some things to say. I have good material, but I have the wrong audience. Supposed to be talking about where do we go from here, how do we get there? And I had some specific things to say to the horse people, the people on the ground, the people that do the work, the people that breed horses, the people that will benefit from the kinds of things that we've been talking about. It's true what Jeff says. I've been involved with the Atlantic Standardbred Breeders. I was on their board and was president for a number of years. I served on the first Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission for about 6 years. Was involved with the New Brunswick Horse Racing Industry Association, which was sort of the forerunner to HRNB, was involved with the negotiating with government for bridge funding to make this happen, was involved a little bit in the organization of HRNB. So I've watched the decline and the resurgence of our industry. Happy to say that we seem to be on the cusp of some very positive things. But horsemen, someone told me once, and I've always remembered it, that horsemen don't know what they want, and they're never happy until they get it. And when I listen to some of the complaints and some of the nitpicking that I hear when I go around the backstretch or when I go to horsemen's meetings, I sometimes think that's true. So what I had to say was be grateful for the positive things that happened. Without the creation of HRNB, if the government of the day hadn't seen fit to make that happen, I'm not sure we'd still be racing. That the St. John exhibition, the Fredericton exhibition people were getting very tired. They found it an enormous financial strain. And they're delighted that someone else has come along to hold the reins and supervise. And they should continue to be delighted and cooperative with us when they remember all of the financial burden and the headaches involved in running a race meet. I want to tell the horse people out there a lot of positive things have happened, and people have referred to them throughout this symposium. That we speak with one voice, for instance, that we have a regional presence, which says a lot when you go to negotiate. Certainly we have a great relationship with Nova Scotia and particularly PEI, who we can point to as a success and say, hey, we want to be like them. Best of all, at this point we have potential. We need to be grateful that we're where we are, that we're still racing, that we have adequate dates and a purse structure that works. Sure, it would be nice if it was better. We could all do with a bit more money, but it's working. We're racing. Be grateful. One attitude that I hear from horsemen that really worries me, or annoys me, more like it, is the us and them. They should do this. They, meaning HRNB, in many instances, don't pay enough attention to such and such. They need to do this, they need to do that. Guys, and I know you're not here, most of you, but listen, HRNB is us. We're all in this together. There's no we and them. It's all of us. And to make this work, we all have to be involved. Remember when you had to read The Three Musketeers in high school? And the motto was all for one and one for all. That's the way it has to be. There are ways to address problems. All of us, horsemen particularly, should know what these channels are. You go through your Horsemen's Association, you go to your representative on the HRNB board, you put your legitimate problems down in writing and communicate them. It helps if they're in writing, and it also helps if you make some recommendations, if you make some suggestions, if you want to be part of the solution, as well as the person blowing the whistle. So I'm saying you need to cooperate, that don't just look at your own needs. Be a little respectful of other people's concerns and needs. Don't be the sort of person that says, it doesn't affect me personally, therefore it doesn't matter. What goes on in harness racing matters. It matters to all of us. And it needs to be positive experiences. We need to highlight, we need to underline the good things that happen. We put a great product on the track. We have splendid horses, very dedicated trainers and drivers and fans. Tell people about that. Don't talk to people about what's wrong. Talk to them about what's right, what works. Say, we have a great industry. Let's celebrate it. Take a sip of water, because this is probably the most important part of the whole thing. Be patient. Cultivate patience. Things don't happen overnight. HRNB is not a panacea for all our ills. It's going to cure a lot of them, but it's not a magic pill. That our foals wobble before they run. They grow up and jog before they race. Cut our industry organization some slack. Let them get on with their work. HRNB has only been really operative for 2 years. Every new business, and Tom pointed that out, about the island, you don't instantly succeed. You work out the problems. Give them time. Don't nitpick. Be part of the solution. So those are mostly what I needed to say, only I was going to say them in greater detail, but I want to leave you with this thought. Well, before I go with this, I want to congratulate Jeff and the people in St. John who worked with them to make this a success. It's been great. I would have liked to have 2 or 3 times as many people here to make it a real conversation, but it's been great, and certainly the quality is here. And I want to thank everybody that participated, particularly our guests from outside New Brunswick, that we appreciate your support no end. So I'll finish with this, and again, I know it's not specifically directed to you people in the audience, because I think you're the converted, but I want to say, don't go looking for trouble. Don't gossip. Don't stir the pot. Be positive. Be cooperative. Try to make things better. Don't give up hope. Hang in there. Do your part as well as getting other people to do theirs. Think positive thoughts. And give HRMB your blessing. Have a good race season. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dawn, and true words can't be spoken. We have to be united, and we have to do this together. Next, I'll have Dan Mailman from Nova Scotia come up and just recap on Symposium.
Thank you, Jeff. And on behalf of the Nova Scotia Harness Racing Industry Association, thank you for your efforts and contributions this weekend. It's been a really informative weekend and well done. Congratulations. Nova Scotia, we listened to the island presentations, and one of the things that stands out is speaking with one voice. And I think we are finally at that place in Nova Scotia where the stakeholders are in agreement and they do speak with one voice, and that is important. We have some work to do, and we have some infrastructure upgrades that need to occur as we go forward. Foremost on that list is a track in HRM. We have been far too long outside of the largest populated center in Atlantic Canada, and that has to change. We are hopeful with the presentation that is before the government of Nova Scotia, and we are working, as Kent had suggested and said earlier, relationships have to be forged, and we can never stop lobbying for both the strengths of the standardbred industry and for the future. So we are working towards that now. We did have, in the last year, a couple of significant losses in the province of Nova Scotia. I mentioned Harry Webby, who was a long-time standardbred owner with his brother Eric. We also lost Doug Harkness, and those are not the kinds of individuals you replace easily. For anyone, and I'm sure everyone here knew Doug, he leaves a tremendous hole. But we do move forward, and it's nice to see as the Kyle Burtons coming forward and the young Nick Oakes and those kinds of people in the industry. So we're hopeful. One of the things we hope to do in Nova Scotia is involve more young people and put more seats in the grandstand. Live racing needs to be viewed. We need more live seats. The wager, the electronic wager, the teletheater wager is important, but we need people that are potential owners and potential trainers and drivers and race announcers and judges. We need those people on site, and we need them to develop their passion for harness racing the way the people in this room have. So Nova Scotia is on the right track, and we are working towards infrastructure upgrades and a new track, marketing initiatives which will be shared, some synergies from track to track to track. Kyle has made a strong presentation, and as things work, we'll be sharing them around the region. So on behalf of Harness Racing Nova Scotia, thank you again for a great weekend, and we'll keep you up to date on what happens in the province of Nova Scotia.
Thanks, Dan. And you know, by no means this wasn't done by me. Great working committee, and I say thank you to them for all the hard work. And I will mention names here in a moment. Tom Clark from Prince Edward Island will come up and just recap on the weekend. And
thank you again, Jeff. First of all, I profess to be a student of this industry. I had a wonderful weekend yet again. I've never attended one of these functions that I didn't come away with an awful lot of knowledge and mostly enthusiasm. I've heard an awful lot this weekend that I can I can take home, but I haven't heard anything that I thought was more accurate than the words just mentioned here from Mrs. Bremner, and I thank her very much for that. It's, as a volunteer within this industry, I'd like to encourage folks to please engage themselves. I know the folks that are here are already engaged. The people we need to hear from and love to hear from at the Horse Owners Association levels and Industry Association levels are the people on the ground. Difficult at times to get those folks instilled, the confidence instilled in those people to come forward and engage us, but that's absolutely essential to help us push the ball along. And people like Jeff and Dan and the Whalens in Newfoundland, they require that. And in closing, I'd just again like to thank everyone for your attendance here this weekend. We have an awful lot to look forward to. Kelly made reference last evening that sometimes we have to ignore the negativity around us in our presentations and the way we conduct ourselves on a day-to-day basis. We don't have blinders on, folks. We know there's lots of problems out there, but we have to put on a positive front and we have to move forward. And if we do, we're going to. It's always darkest before the dawn, as I mentioned to somebody here earlier this morning. But in Prince Edward Island, the sun has risen, and you folks can as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. And I guess from New Brunswick's point of view, and from this weekend, like I said earlier, you know, Friday till now, you know, it's just been, it's a whirlwind, but I really got a lot of great feelings and information from this, and you know, to quote Kelly Spencer's, engage, get hands-on, you know. The adult camp, I think, was referred to as, it's not quantity but quality, and I really feel this weekend was very much quality. Coming out of yesterday's panels, I just, you know, there was a lot of great information, and you know, starting Friday afternoon, we're waiting down in the lobby downstairs at what was it, 12:30, approached by nice couple that you know had driven over from Nova Scotia and want to buy a horse, want information. So you know, it's events like this, I think, and stories like that, because I know they're going to be a story going forward. I really do. I think that, you know, they're I wouldn't be surprised if they have a stable by the end of the week. They were that encouraged and that excited to get in on the industry. And you know, we heard that sometimes we take advantage or take for granted what we have. You know, we don't like muck in stalls. You know, I've done it a lot, but you know, when you're away from it and you don't realize that some people actually enjoy that. And when you first start out, that is enjoyment. You know, if you can find people that enjoy it, it can save you a lot of work too. You know, you might just get more assistance that way. But you know, Catherine Wilson being here yesterday with the tax information, I think that is a huge step for the industry. Right across the board, and we're just right there on the brink of pushing that forward. And I think that, you know, in the coming months and probably a couple of years, the way the government works and Revenue Canada, I think that's a united front that, you know, we have to stay on top of as an industry. We can't let that go. That's something that's really critical. And we have to keep following up on that. And it's easy to say, oh yeah, that's a great thing, and we did it yesterday, Saturday, March the 12th, and then tomorrow we're back to our routine, we forget about it, and it kind of just gets left in limbo, and nobody really follows it. And I think that Catherine and Standard Canada and John Gallagher, I think it's an initiative of theirs, and they're really going to push this, and I think it's critical that we all stay on as city slicker owners, whatever you want to call us, the guys getting their hands dirty in the ground. If we don't become united, and I know it's a risk. Talking to Catherine yesterday, she said it is a risk when you go to file your tax return. You've got to be, you know, willing to accept that. But if we don't risk, we're never going to get anywhere. So we have to make sure that, you know, people do take a hard, long look at this and see to move forward. Kathy Wade and the ownership information that you shared with everybody here, and Kelly's programs and what's going on elsewhere. You know, that's great information for us. Todd Canavan being here telling the Kiam story, it was a great addition to kind of a new perspective on horse ownership. Dr. Mitchell Downey and Kathleen McMillan, Ann Beaumont being here and talking on the value of, you know, the breathing and identifying that disorder. You know, it's, again, great information. Marketing, Lee Drake, Kelly Spencer, Kathy Wade, you know, the stuff that we saw on the weekend, it just really is, it's united, but it's so different. Kelly's doing things in Grand River that, you know, can really help. Kathy Wade with the Stanbrook Canada Trot handicapping challenge and things like that. We have the resources. We just have to get there and use them. So, and Lee's, you know, one experience and what they're doing in Prince Edward Island, and Dave Thorburn spoke on it today. That's stuff that, you know, there's been hurdles and mistakes made throughout the process, I'm sure, and things didn't work. But if we don't share, we're not going to. I'm going to make the mistakes. The next person is going to make the mistakes, and we won't progress as quickly as we should. So, Norm Borg last night. I think you know, I like hearing Norm speak. He's a great asset to the industry with the trot radio and everything. And it's really good to see him down here for the second time. So he came to the Fredericton banquet, and I think he gets it in the sense that, you know, like what he was saying last night, really, you know, don't forget about telling people about us, right? And we do sell it short. Ken Oakes mentioned that today in his presentation. We have to get better at selling our product and not being scared to brag it up. So the plans for the future. Today, hearing Red Shore's model and hearing what's going on in Prince Edward Island, we've been fortunate enough I'm fortunate enough not to be actually doing it in New Brunswick, but we've been fortunate enough to see Prince Edward Island and see what they've gone through, because it wasn't overnight. You know, there was, I think it was a 6-year strategic plan before this model was initiated. And when they initiated, you know, there was harness racing, PEI, there was Red Shores. They you know, were two separate entities in the same building, and now they've merged and everything's into one. So as Don mentioned, there's a really startup period, and we've seen it start over the years in Prince Edward Island. For their model to work has taken them numerous years, but I really feel that at this point in time they've ironed out the kinks. I think that the model in Prince Edward Island is working. I think it's where it has to be. You know, the two entities into one, the customer experience, the racing on the gaming floor, the lottery corporation embracing racing, right, as a casino or a racino operator, is a little bit out of the realm of other jurisdictions. And, you know, to see that, like, now we can jump in and see at that level versus having to grow and take steps backwards. So I'm really excited about that. I hope that Atlantic Lotto, once they've got everything to the point of where the growth has hit its peak, which is very close, they're going to look at key markets, and I hope they do look at New Brunswick as one. So Kyle Burton, I mean, here's a guy. Are you under 20? You are under 20. Okay, good. Didn't realize that when I had the hospitality suite. No, no, it's very encouraging, Kyle. Keep it up. Don't change. Keep your mind set going that way. It's the youth is the future, and I mean, it's cliche, and you want to say what you want to say, but we do have to embrace that new technology, the thoughts. You know, last year's Breeders' Crown with the guy running against the horse, going into it. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't really that convinced. I was screaming at the finish line Like, I literally was. I was like, come on, you know? And it was a great event, and it brought people out, and it really was a different feel there. So Don's speech this morning really, you know, we have had our challenges in New Brunswick with growth and getting off our feet and being able to walk. I don't think it's unique to New Brunswick. It's definitely a problem across the industry. It is a competitive industry. Like, it's not, we aren't necessarily just you know, we are racing against each other. We're trying to beat the guy next to us. We're trying to win. Like, our customers are trying to take the guy's money next to him. So, I mean, there is that factor in it. But we really have to focus on staying together. And like Don said, be grateful for where we are. We will grow. We will get better. And we're confident of that. Coming out of the weekend, there's no question that the Atlantic region, you know, we're on the right track. We just have to keep pushing and pushing and getting into the government offices, getting into where everybody knows where we have to be. It's just, you know, Don said, you can't do it overnight. So I appreciate your comments, Don. And I would like to thank all the people for attending. I'd like to thank anyone watching online. I know we had calls from down south, from Ontario, from all over. So I think that it was a valuable symposium. You know, we've seen a lot of good presentations. There will be DVDs available afterwards. We've recorded everything, so I think we can go back and look, and I know I will, and kind of refresh and make sure that we do stay on the right track. As far as the organizing committee goes, Dorothy Stevens, Christian, Quinn Phillips, Randy Phillips for auctioning last night and doing the silent auction, Sam Hodgen, everyone that was involved in planning and getting this done, great job, and thank you very much. As well, Pat Eastwood, a big thank you to you. Your display outside was wonderful. For those online that didn't see it, it was all very old history of harness racing in the Maritimes, some great old videos, and it was a real nice add to our symposium. So thanks, Pat, for taking the time to put that together. And to all the sponsors, a big thank you, because without them it would really be hard to get this symposium off the ground. And we appreciate all the sponsors, but the silent auction or cash donations. So not going to take up much more time. To the speakers that came in, Kathy, Kelly, Norm, Kathleen, Kent, Catherine Wilson, every panelist, Kyle, thank you very much, because that's what makes these things is the people sitting up here and coming and sharing the information. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope everybody got something from it. I hope that you leave with a good feeling, and we will see you, I believe, in 2012 in Prince Edward Island. So best of luck to everyone this year in 2011 racing seasons. And I gotta say it one more time, Kelly, we're going to try to get the bouncy ponies down to New Brunswick. No, you know, we got to get these initiatives going. So anyway, best of luck. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next year.